Guys, how you doing? Listen, it is Thanksgiving and I have the whole Thanksgiving dinner coming up here pretty soon. We're finishing up cooking, but I wanted to get in here for a couple reasons. One, I'm about to cross the 1,000 subscriber mark on this channel, which is really exciting for me. I've been working on this channel for a little while, just trying to pull it all together. And I'm really excited that right at 1,000 people kind of see the vision of what we're trying to do, the community we're trying to build. We love gardening, ornamental flowers, and I love to have that. So we're about to cross that mark, and no one's in here yet. That's cool. It's my first time ever going live, so this doesn't bother me at all. But what I want to do is a little bit of repotting. Well, look at this. This is a Christmas cactus, and I picked this up today. I love the coloration, and look at these. That fuchsia color. That's what made me buy this. So I love the flowers, right? The flowers is this orangey, light pale, creamy color, right? So it's kind of creamy and it has a bit of pink under the underside. But look at that fuchsia. That I said, okay, this is something I wanted to get. Now I have a couple of other Christmas cactus that I bought several years ago. What I want to do with this one is what I like to do with all my Christmas cactus and most of my plants in general, especially all my indoor house plants. And I want to get this into some lechuza pond. Um, I have a big bag of it right here. I've been moving all of my house plants into this. This stuff right here, this, and then inside of these semi-hydroponic pods has been golden for me. I travel a lot and I can water these. It has meters in it. I can always see what the water level is. So let's get this Christmas cactus out of this pot, and I don't care if it gets a little dirty here, and just kind of work this dirt off of this. And I've been working on this channel for I guess about a year and a half, 2 years. It actually came out of the idea from my mother-in-law. We were going to a lot of gardens and we were going to Kew and other places. And she said, hey, you really should do a YouTube channel because you're really into gardening. You know a lot about gardening and you're always traveling to gardens and you seem to enjoy it quite a bit. So you should do a YouTube channel related to that. And I was like, well, you know what? I think you're right. And so I decided to come back and put a bit of thought into it. I said, well, what is it about gardening that I like? And indoor house plants, this is new for me. I'm not really ultra familiar with a lot of house plants. I've been doing a lot of outdoor plants. That's where my expertise has been up until this point. A lot of ornamental plants, a lot of beds, big perennial beds. I love perennials, but I've been getting into the house plants. I've always had a few house plants. Oh, hi guys, how you doing? I am doing well. Uh, and so I've always had some house plants, and I said, well, let me just kind of grow my house plant collection. Let me continue to go to great gardens. I've been to some really wonderful gardens. I've had that opportunity. And I think one of the coolest gardens I've ever gone to, and it's not on this channel, was I went to the botanical gardens in Singapore. And if you ever get the opportunity to go to Singapore, fly into the major airport there, which I think is Changi is the name of it. And they have a wonderful, almost a botanical garden set up inside of the airport, but they have some wonderful botanical gardens there in Singapore. And of course, I've been to Kew, which I think is one of the absolute best gardens in the world. Happy Thanksgiving. Uh-oh, I can repot that. Um, and I think that's one of the best gardens in the world. Of course, I've gone to the US Botanical Garden, which isn't quite as nice as Kew. They don't quite keep it, as put together as Kew is. Kew has a phenomenal gardeners that's working on that one, and they really put a lot of energy into those beds. So what I'm doing here is just taking all this dirt off. I want to try to get this down to the original plug, the original root ball, and then I want to put this into a pot with some lechuza pond, and I think that will work really well. I have another one that's already been repotted. Again, as I pointed out, I bought this one because look at that fuchsia, look at that coloration. That's the reason I decided to pick up this one. All right, I think this is enough for me. I'm gonna leave a little bit of dirt on here because I want to get through this, and I want to actually, if I get a chance, I want to pot up some of my amaryllis. I bought this one. This is double white amaryllis. This one is really, really impressive. I love those, that big bloom, blousy bloom. And if I get the opportunity on this live, Magic Green. I picked this one up today. Look at that. It has that green coloration on that, just kind of creamy with those reds. I'm like, man, this is something new. This coloration, this color variant, this is new. Last year it was orange. I think that was Fiona, which was the Amarylis Fiona. I picked that one up last year and it was really, really nice. But to be able to get one that has these greens in it, and if you hear the kids in the background, that's my youngest. One of them, I have twins. Well, I have more than twins, but the youngest are twins. And the little girl, the boy-girl set, and she's awake. The little boy is asleep. But she's awake and she's running around. She's really enjoying her Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving for me has been cool because living here in the UK, I was actually able to go to the garden center today. The garden centers in the US, of course, are all going to be closed today. They won't be open and everyone's enjoying their Thanksgiving. I'm doing all the Thanksgiving stuff as well. We're cooking a nice Thanksgiving dinner. Now, I've had people ask me, why don't I wash or rinse my pond before I add it to the pots? I have not found a need to do that. I haven't had any problem with it. I don't have a lot of fines coming off of this. It's not a very, there's not a lot of fine material. Like there's no dust. Like I pour it and there's no dust coming up. So I don't really feel the need. And then I checked the website and the website did state that it doesn't have to be washed or rinsed before you use it, but I did have some people mention it. And I think if you wanted to rinse it or wash it, that's fine, right? That's no problem. If you want to do that, of course, you can wash it or rinse it, but I have not found the need to do that. So really quickly, look at this. This is a Christmas cactus. Now these are really great. It's going to get a lot larger. It's going to grow and these will last. I have some of these that I've had for about 4 or 5 years. I'm pretty sure they could last a lot longer than that. They tend to get really big and floppy. And then you can take these, this section fell off here, but you'll look at these little nodes. You can actually break these off, but they'll root from here, put a little root and growth hormone on those. So I'm just gonna pot this up separately and I think I can get this to grow really well. I may take off these last little end pieces just so it's not pulling too much energy off of it, but I'm gonna repot this and that'll be pretty easy. All right, let's kind of move that to the side. I'll come back to that little piece right there. I don't like, now I love getting these. We're gonna do this one. We're gonna do Magic Green. All right, let's do this one. Pick this up today at the garden center. So let's get this open. And I will show you what I really don't like, and that's this. This stuff, this core, I mean, I know some people may care for it. I really don't care for it. Look like LeVar Burton. I'll take that as a compliment. Sir LeVar Burton was a part of my youth, reading Rainbow, and then also with Star Trek. I loved him in Star Trek. But this stuff, it doesn't do really well for retaining water. I hope you're not too depressed. All right, let's see. It's a nice little amaryllis bulb. It's a little dried out. So I'm kind of glad I got it. Yeah, it's firm. You knock on it, you can feel it, like you press on it. It's firm, so it's not dead. This bulb is still very much alive. There's just a hint of it, but it's dry, man. This is really dry. So I'm glad I kind of got to this when I did. I'm not going to use this. I have used this, and I actually use these. I put water on them, and then I use this. I have a worm composter, and so what I'll do is put this in my worm composter, let it expand, and I'll let the worms eat it so I can get some vermicompost. I love that stuff. I don't use it on a lot of these plants, but for outdoor plants, I use a lot of vermicompost. This is real simple. I just take this and put this in a pot. Now I have a video on my channel where I talk about keeping this amaryllis year round. Some people, they grow them through the holiday season. You plant it right now, it's gonna come out a shoot, it's gonna bloom, have these beautiful flowers, and then they chunk it. Don't chunk it. I don't wanna move around too much on this particular live, but I'll show you where I have all my flowers. I have pots of these things that I've had for years. I have one really large one. I mean, the bulb is about that big, a little smaller than a soccer ball or football, soccer in the US, football in the rest of the world. Geordie LaForge was the name of his character on Star Trek. He was on Star Trek Next Generation. He wore a visor across his eyes, and he was on that show, I think, the whole time that it ran. And if you didn't know that that was LeVar Burton, yes, it was LeVar Burton. And I watched him as a kid growing up. But yeah, let's get this in a pot. I already have a pot here, so I'm actually, this is gonna be a little simple. I'm just gonna take some of this pond out, put it into another pot. And actually, they come with these little pots like this, and this one doesn't even have drainage in it. And I don't ever use any pot that doesn't have any drainage. I'm always concerned about holding water in my pots, and so I'm always concerned about that. So if it doesn't have drainage holes in it, I will add a drainage hole to that. But you see, no drainage in that. It's fine, it doesn't matter. I like all my pots to be these semi-hydroponic pots. So just get a lot of this pond out of here. Oh, 999 subscriber. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That was one of the reasons I wanted to jump on live today, because I wanted to hit that 1,000 subscriber count. That is, I don't know, to some people it may not mean anything, but it means a lot to me. This channel has been a labor of love to kind of put out these videos, and especially when you know that what you're doing is not ultra popular, right? I'm not talking about cool pop culture stuff. Some people love pop culture. That's cool. And everyone has their own interests, but this channel is really about gardening, a lot of ornamental flowers and plants, and it's not everyone's cup of tea. So to be able to get right to 1,000 people that say, hey, I like this. And the other side of it is, I mean, starting YouTube channels is so crazy, because if you're someone who's famous, I guess I can see it. And then if you're someone who's already established, like I'm here in the UK, and so there are some giants in the space of ornamental plants and gardening. Monty Dunn, Carol Klein, Gardener's World, like they're already established. Okay, so not food gardening. No, I don't tend to do. I did grow some peppers this year, and I grew a bit more. For me, it's more ornamental horticulture, not so much food gardening. I did grow peppers. I grew some pumpkins and what else? Squash, a couple other things. But my interests primarily lie in ornamentals, and I'm getting into house plants like this one, right? And then this plant, you can set this out in the summer. I've actually planted these outside. Now, this temperatures get here too cold for it to stay out year round, so I won't plant it outside, but I set the pot outside. I'm gonna water all these down, but that's it. And I love these pots because when you add the water to them, it just, it goes up and down, so you can see how much more water or moisture that you have in here. And this pond already comes with fertilizer in it, so I don't have to add fertilizer at first. It has about 3 to 4 months worth of fertilizer in it. All right, I'm gonna do one more of these. I like food gardening, but it's not what I tend to do the most. And then on this channel, I go to a lot of beautiful gardens. Rest Park was really nice. And I have a video coming up where I went to Powers Court, which was considered one of the third, I think it's considered the third best garden in the world. And it is one of those, it's in Ireland, and it's, one of those large, kind of like, I haven't gone to Versailles yet. I want to get to Versailles. That is the only goal. Hopefully next year I can make it to France and go to Versailles, which I think is the paramount of all gardens. And so I go to the botanical gardens, I go to the big, beautiful ornamental gardens. And then I love also going to just people's gardens where people are doing a lot of great things with the gardens. So a lot of ornamental gardening. But also, if I were to grow food, say for food gardening, the way I like to do that is I actually like to blend that in with the ornamentals. All right, I'm gonna peel that off, don't need that. Oh, look at this. You call that a bonus. That's a free one. That's a little baby. Oh wow, it has, look at all these little buds along the side. And I don't know if I want to pop these off now. Some of these are really small, but look at this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of these. And I don't know if I want to pop them off now or if I want to give them a little bit more time and kind of let them get bigger. Some of these are really small. I don't think some of these really small ones, I don't think they'll survive if I take them off. This one already has some chlorophyll in it. You see that's going green. This larger one, I really feel like I could take that one off and it would make it. I really feel like I can, yeah. And so I'll put some rooting hormone on that and see if I can get that to grow. If so, then I will have two of these magic greens. And then this one, I will pull this out of the pot. I remember later on, I'll pull this out of the pot, probably the end of the summer, and I'll take that one off. This one I'm going to put into a separate pot all on its own. I think that's really cool. But check this out. This one already has a stem coming out. Again, this is Amaryliss, and people get these. They're in all of the garden stores. They're in Walmart. They're in Target. If you're in the UK, they're in Tesco. They're in B&Q. They're everywhere, and they grow really well. And people just bloom them out during the Christmas holiday season, and then they chunk them. And again, don't chunk it. It has these long, strappy leaves. That's what these will turn into. So it's going to have this. This is what's going to bloom, and then it's going to have these long strappy leaves. There's going to be two of them typically. And so these long strappy leaves, I put them in pots together. I have a large pot that I have some of these in together. And you can keep these around. I'm not going to tell you that they're beautiful, right? Year round, they're not. They are during the holiday season. These tend to bloom. There are some things you could do to get these to bloom on a very specific time frame if you want them to bloom at certain times of year. I tend to let mine bloom when and where and how they want to bloom. I don't too much care about when they bloom. I just let them bloom however they want to bloom because I like the surprise. And I have several that are going to bloom here in this fall season right here as we head into winter. I have several that should be blooming for Christmas, and that's great. But I also have some that bloom in the summertime and some that may bloom in the spring. And I don't really, personally, I don't care about grouping all of their blooming patterns because I have at least 14 amaryllises, at least 14 bulbs of them, at least. And so every year I pick up two or three and I try to get some that are really unique. Again, this one, oh, what I do? Okay, so the first one, this pot, Green Magic. Look how unique that looks. Look at that. Look at that flower. I mean, if it comes out looking like that, that's phenomenal. And then this one is double white. And you can see what that one looks like. And every year I try to find the ones that have the most like magical look. The first ones I were buying were just plain whites or just plain reds. And you can get a lot of them like that. Pinks, they come predominantly in pinks and reds and whites. That's why when I saw this one where you have this green coloration, I'm like, okay, that's something new. I haven't seen that before. But yeah, magic green, I haven't seen that one. And the breeders are always working with the cultivars to try to get you something new every year. But there we go. Look at that. And that's pretty much all you have to do. I'm going to water these down really well. I'll take them, get them watered in, and then you have these meters here. You can see is no water in here right now, but as I put water in it, it's going to go up. And there's your max line, so your low line, mid line, and max. And you just want to kind of keep it between the mid and the max. You don't want to go over that because you don't want to waterlog the plant. There is no drainage in the bottom of this. So I do like pots with drainage, but I don't have these with drainage. And it's not necessary if you water it appropriately. Now, every now and again, I put too much water in it, and you can always just kind of put your hand there, tilt it over, pour out a little bit of water if you need to. That doesn't tend to be a problem very often. But this, for me, for my indoor plants, has been a winning combination. These semi-hydroponic pots and all of my plants. So I've been switching all of them over to these pots. The pots are okay. I can rinse these off. These are not the high-end pots that are like shellacked and really, really beautiful. But they're all white. This color that I get, and they match really well. I have a whole flower area set up in my home. I have a couple things I need to go get pots for, and that's one here. This little amaryllis. This is cool. This is a freebie, and then this broke off, and I need to go and pot this up as well. I'm gonna probably take these tops off, keep these bottom sections, put some rooting growth hormone on this, and put this in its own separate pot. These Christmas cactus, you can kind of break these down if you wanted to, which I don't, but if you wanted to, you could break these down into multiple sections to propagate. They propagate really easily. I haven't had a lot of problem propagating them. But again, this, because look at that fuchsia, look at the coloration, that's the reason I really wanted this one. And this is a nice little freebie. So Guys, this was a live that I wanted to do. I'm thinking about doing these lives on a more regular basis. Probably not on a normal day because no, this is a Thursday, so I'll be at work. But today is Thanksgiving. I had a little bit of time before we do our Thanksgiving dinner. I wanted to do a little bit of repotting. I'll be cleaning up my little flower area, the conservatory. Next time I do a live, I probably would try to do it in that room just so we all can see more of the plants that I have. I have a lot of philodendrons. I love philodendrons. Again, I'm just getting into the indoor house plants, so I'm not as well versed on house plants as I am on the bedding perennials. But I love going to garden shows. I go to a lot of garden shows. I love being here in the UK because the UK has so many phenomenal garden shows. The premier garden show that I have never made it to, and I hope to make it to maybe this year coming up, is Chelsea, the Chelsea Garden Show. I think that was in March or May. But I definitely want to try to make it to Chelsea. But I have gone to some really wonderful garden shows here in the UK, some great gardens. If you like those type things, do subscribe to the channel because that's what I do. I hand out a little bit of garden tips. I do a little bit of indoor gardening and I go to garden shows, ornamental plants. Again, it's not for everyone. And I get it. I get it. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but this is something that I enjoy quite a bit. All right, guys. I don't know if I hit 1,000. I have Greystone is my 999th subscriber. I'm pretty sure I should go over 1,000 any moment now or any day now. I'll have 1,000 subscribers, and that'll be really validation for me because when I started this channel, I was really not sure if this is something that people would even care about enough to follow along. But right at 1,000 people have said, "Hey, I like this and I like what you're doing," and I get a lot of encouragement from the comments. All right, I do have to go eat my Thanksgiving dinner. If you're celebrating Thanksgiving in the US, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. If you don't celebrate it, I still hope you have a great Thursday, have a great day. I'm going to log off here, guys, and I will check in with you later.